Hello and welcome to our presentation for assignment 11. My name is Alia. Me and my team will be presenting uh, today's material, which is language teaching and learning from an intercultural perspective. So this is the team. There's Hiskia and myself, Monica and Elizabeth.
Thank you, Alia. And for the language teaching and learning from an intercultural perspective, I'm going to share to you the introduction part and the intercultural in language learning. So, what is intercultural language teaching and learning? Intercultural language teaching and learning, also known as intercultural language teaching, intercultural language learning, or intercultural language teaching and learning. It has gained prominence over the past 2 decades. This approach to language education goes beyond traditional methods, which often focus solely on linguistic competence. Instead, it emphasizes preparing language learners for meaningful communication in contexts outside their own cultural environment. So this means equipping learners with the skills to understand and navigate different cultural norms, values, and practices. Moreover, it aims to develop learners as mediators between languages and cultures. This mediation role involves not just translating words, but also conveying the cultural nuances and perspectives embedded in those words by fostering an understanding of both the student's cultural context and others' cultural context. They become more adept at negotiating meaning in a globalized world. This holistic approach to language learning is essential in today's interconnected society, where cross-cultural communication is increasingly common in personal, academic, and professional settings. So these are the concepts we need to know in order to grasp deeper understanding on intercultural language learning. First one, conceptual shift in language education. So there has been a conceptual shift in understanding the nature and purpose of language teaching. This shift focuses on what is taught and how it is taught, as emphasized by Zerate in 1986, leading to the development of new educational approaches. Next one, progress in intercultural language teaching. So we have to address the shortcomings. The significant work has been done to address the teaching of culture in language education. This presentation outlines some basic assumptions about language, culture, and learning and examines educational approaches within an intercultural framework. And the next point, intercultural perspective. So we can see the intercultural in language learning. Intercultural language teaching and learning center on relationship between languages and culture. We distinguish between a cultural orientation, which focuses on external knowledge, and an intercultural orientation, which involves transformational engagement and developing an intercultural identity. So we are going to compare the orientation between cultural and intercultural orientation. In a cultural orientation, knowledge about culture remains external and focuses on differences. An intercultural orientation, on the other hand, engages learners with another cultural and develops an intercultural identity with the language as a crucial point of engagement. So there will be developing intercultural capability. Developing intercultural capability involves the learners considering their own cultural positioning and then decentering from their own culture and viewing from another's perspective. This engagement involves both linguistic and non linguistic practices. Next, dynamic cultural practices. So, culture is seen as a set of variable practices and that are continuously created and recreated. Language learning thus become more a process of exploring the relationship between language and culture. And then there will be awareness and knowing of the intercultural. So intercultural awareness involves understanding the interrelationship between language and culture. Though engagement with languages and cultures, learners develop a complex sense of self as both language users and as cultural beings. And understanding all of these, the students will act interculturally. So acting interculturally means interpreting and expressing meaning across cultural boundaries, recognizing multiple interpretation of messages and combining participants and analyze their roles in communication. And that's for uh, the introduction part and the intercultural in language learning. The next part will be discussed by Alia.
So, for my part, I will be talking about the pedagogy in intercultural language learning and teaching. So, an interculturally oriented pedagogy views language, culture, and learning as fundamentally intertwined, which means that all of these three things are something that cannot be truly separated from one another because with another language, we need to also keep in mind the culture behind it, the cultural context behind it. And the second one, each student conveys their understanding of the fundamental aspects of practice through language. So what this means is that uh, each student's understanding is conveyed through their knowledge. So this means that an important starting point for developing an intercultural pedagogy is for teachers to individually recognize that the cultural locatedness of the ways they think about teaching and learning. So this kind of recognition allows teachers to understand the motivation and uh, just they themselves know how to mediate between cultural assumptions in their work. Next. So according to Lidicode, uh, he proposed a set of principles. So there's active construction, which means learning is understood through involving purposeful, active engagement in interpreting and creating meaning in interaction with others and continuously reflecting on oneself and others in communication and meaning making in variable context. This basically means that active engagement in interpreting is crucial in intercultural language learning. Making connections. So connections are made between existing conceptions and new understandings, and between previous experiences and new experiences. Previous knowledge is challenged, and this creates new insights through which students connect, reorganize, and elaborate and then extend their understanding. So basically, the more knowledge you gather, the more connections have to be made within this knowledge. So previous knowledge will be challenged and will be corrected as time goes, as you acquire new knowledge. Interaction. So learning and communication are social and interactive. Interacting and communicating interculturally means continuously developing one's own understanding of the relationship between one's framework of language and culture and that of others. So this ties into the previous point about making connections, where your understanding of uh, language learning is continuously challenged through your interaction with others. The fourth one is reflection. So, learning involves becoming aware of how individuals think, know, and learn about language, culture, knowing, understanding, and the relationship between these, as well as concepts such as diversity, identity, experiences, and one's own intercultural thoughts and feelings. So, this is the part where a learner will reflect back to their experiences and form their own thoughts regarding those experiences. And the last one is responsibility. So learning depends on the learner's attitudes, dispositions, and values, and developed over time. So this also is connected to the previous points about developing knowledge and just being responsible with that knowledge. And also, there is the four interrelated processes. So, the first one is noticing. The process of noticing is fundamental to learning. So, this is just like you noticing the differences in culture. So, when experiencing something new, learners need to examine the new information in their own terms and seek to understand what it is they are experiencing. So, yeah, that's noticing. And the second one is comparison. So, comparing. So, comparing one's own culture and another person's culture. So, comparison of similarities and differences provide a resource for reflection, and reflection as a classroom process is a core element of developing interculturality. The next one is reflection. So this also has something to do with the principles set by Liddicoat. So reflection involves several considerations. It is a process of interpretation of experience. This does not mean that the learner is required to draw right conclusions, the right conclusions, or simply to explore their feelings about what has been discovered, but rather that the learner makes personal sense of their own experiences. So the final one is interacting. So, uh, instead of just passively knowing the aspects of diversity, students are also encouraged to actively engage with diversity. So, This means that the intercultural learner, needs to be engaged in interacting on the basis their learning and experiences of diversity in order to create personal meanings about one's experiences, to communicate those meanings, to explore those meanings, and to reshape them in response to others. So the key features of the things that were explained the above is involving students in the process of noticing, comparing, reflecting, and interacting. The second one is constructing the background culture of the learner and the target culture as equally valid representations of human life. So basically, we are not teaching them that our culture is better than their culture, but that they are both equally valid. The third one, viewing instances of language as experiences of culture and opportunities for cultural learning. So, basically, when you hear another language, you are experiencing culture and opportunities to learn other culture. So, the fourth one is focusing on the capabilities required for ongoing learning about other cultures through experiences of language. So, as we learn about other cultures, as we're learning their language, we also focus on our own capabilities, and we also need to pay mind of the required capabilities for doing so. And the fifth one is probably the most important. We have to encourage multiple perspectives. So everyone's perspective, we need to consider them as valid and um not just ignore them for bias purposes. It's just like we need a perspective of other people of other culture instead of just our own. So next one. So the last one is the usage of ethnography. So the first one is making learners interact directly with another culture through observation, interview, and analyzing and reporting. So Corbett argues that these things are fundamental to encounters with another culture and argues that language learners need to learn these as an element of language curriculum. The second one is an ethnographic interview might help people understand another culture because when we're doing ethnographic interviews, we are also trying to understand another people's culture and just interact directly with the people of that culture. And the final one is that ethnography can be used for intercultural engagement for the purpose of learning another language.
And now I would like to share about the process of learning. The process of learning is consists of 12 key points. And I can summary from all the 12 points. The first is underdeveloped research. Underdeveloped research is the research on how intercultural focus on learning happens over a long period. Is it not very advanced? My studies focus on specific, short-term learning experience rather than the entire developmental journey. The second is notable studies. There are reports of learning outcome from specific learning experiences, such as those by Krams in 23, Krams and Nolden in 1994, Liddycoat and Crozet in 21, and Mike Konecki in 28, and also Zeret et al. In 24. There are notable studies that report in the outcomes or specific intercultural learning experience by the research, and then the studies often provides insight into what learners gain from particular intercultural interaction. Next is focus on intercultural engagement. Um, the studies tend to look at the nature of learning when people engage with different culture rather than how this learning develops over time. Next is language learning context. This is some research try to understand how intercultural learning process unfolds specifically within language learning context. Next is DMIS model, the developmental model of intercultural sensitivity by Bennett and Allen is a key model for understanding how people develop intercultural competence. It is not primarily focused on language but has been adapted to include linguistic elements, and also ethnocentrism and ethnorelativism. The DMS model divides the development of intercultural competence into two main stages. Ethnocentrism is seeing one's own culture as essential, and ethno-relativism is recognizing that all behavior exists within cultural contexts. Number seven, stage of ethnocentrism. Ethnocentrism involves three stages. The first is denial, or not recognizing cultural differences. The second is defenses. There's a noticing cultural differences due to exposure, and also the minimizations. This is believing that all humans are fundamentally similar, and the stage of ethno-relativism is ethno-relativism also has three stages. This is acceptance or understanding different cultural contexts. The second is adaptation. This is shifting perspective to other cultural frameworks, and also the integration by using different cultural perspectives to understand one's own identity. The last is linear model. Linear model is the DMIS model suggests that the developing intercultural sensitivity is a gradual, step-by-step process that progresses over time. The Liddycott's proposal. This is a Liddycott proposal, a nonlinear progression in intercultural learning, where new cultural understandings are built on previous one. These stages are next, meaning earlier understanding remain relevant as new ones develop. The next is complex and nonlinear processes. Developing intercultural competence is complex and doesn't follow a um, the straight path. It involves increasing complexity in how people understand and respond to cultural and linguistic differences. The next is need for clear assessment. A significant challenge in researching intercultural learning is the need for clear assessment tools to measure intercultural competence and track its development. Without these tools, it's hard to conduct research that advance understanding in this area.
Next, we will be discussing about assessment.
The first is challenge is assessing intercultural competence. The assessment of intercultural competence raised several difficulties, particularly in language education. The concept has multiple dimensions and may be defined and incorporated in different ways. The traditional assessment strategies are lacking as they do not uh, capture this kind of values and belief which is essential in global interaction. Second, methods. Methods such as role plays, simulation, and discourse completion tasks. Other approaches or methods can be used include the attitudinal test or culture assimilator test, where it able to determine the extent of learners' understanding concern culture, but fail to determine the extent of learners' ability to apply this knowledge in communication. Third is the theory of Liddycote and Scarino's framework, 2010. They provided a dynamic view of assessment, construing a composite assessment approach that involves both communication and reflective activities at different points. This method seeks to embrace dynamism in intercultural competence by sanitizing the assessment and identifying the learner's attitude in analyzing, explaining, and responding to cultural differences within the constitutional intercultural interactive environment. Learner posted more insightful reflections about their experience throughout the utilization of portfolio-based strategy. It supports learner continuous evaluation of their development uh, toward becoming interculturally competent language users. Overall, the assessment of interculturality in the context of language education should not be limited by simple knowledge-based texts, but presupposes the integration of performance-based tasks and reflective tasks, recognizing the constructivist representation of intercultural learning. Next, integrate intercultural learning and into our future career as English teacher. First, we have curriculum and lesson planning. Incorporate cultural themes. It means integrate themes, holidays, and traditions from various culture into our lesson. This can be broaden student perspective and understanding of the world. Second, use authentic material. This is incorporate authentic text, videos, and music from different cultures into our lesson. Focus on intercultural communication. Teach students not just grammar and vocab, but also the communication styles, body language, etiquette from different culture, and project-based learning. Encourage collaborative projects where students research and present on different culture. This fosters teamwork, research skill, intercultural understanding. Second, teaching methods and activities. Discussion and debates. Facilitate discussion and debates on cultural topics to encourage critical thinking and and to open-minded students. Role-playing and simulations. Create role-playing scenarios and simulation that require students to interact from different cultural perspective. We also can have invite the guest speakers from diverse backgrounds to share their experience and culture with the students. And last one, cultural exchange program. Participate or organize in cultural exchange programs where the students can connect with learners from other cultures. Third is classroom environment. Celebrate diversity. It means we can create a classroom environment that celebrates diversity and foster inclusion. This is to encourage students to share their own culture backgrounds and perspective. And respectful communication means to set clear expectation for respectful communication and appreciation for different culture norms. And the last one is professional development. It's for our own good as a teacher. We can seek intercultural training. It means seek out professional development opportunities, focus on intercultural teaching and learning. And the last one is to connect with other educators. Connect and collaborate with other educators who are integrating into intercultural approach into their teaching.
We've come to the end of our presentations today, so I would like to conclude the summary what we've already shared to you from several points in our presentations today. So the conclusion is in recent years, there has been a lot of work on improving how we teach and learn language in a way that also teach cultural understanding. Researchers have focused on creating theories about how culture and language learning go together, and they've thought a lot about the best ways to teach this. However, there are still some areas that need more work. One big area that needs improvement is assessment, how we test and measure intercultural learning. This is difficult because we need to clearly define what we are trying to assess and understand how people develop intercultural skills over time. While individual teachers have found ways to deal with this challenge in their own classroom, these solutions haven't yet become major research topics. But overall, there's a good amount of theory about what and how to teach intercultural skills. But more research is needed to connect these theories with practical teaching methods. So that is from our presentations today. We hope that you guys can still get the several insights from our presentations today, and thank you so much for your attention. See you in the next presentation.